All right, man. Wanted to hop on here, talk about the Roca Sifter. I've actually talked about this a few times on TikTok already, but I haven't gotten around to making a YouTube video on it. Now, I am going to give you kind of my perspective on it because a lot of people think this is going to tank the singles market, the low end singles market. And while I do think there will be a little bit of downward pressure, I don't think it's going to completely crash. I don't think it's going to tank. It's not going to nosedive, but there will be downward pressure. So when it comes to that downward pressure, what I'm thinking is you could have 75-cent cards that are consistently 75 cents start to go down to 60 cents or 50 cents. Dollar cards, they could actually go down even more. You could see dollar cards start to hit that 70-cent, that 60-cent range. And the reason this is going to happen is because, not in my opinion, because this is going to make people's lives a lot easier and it's going to be the introductory piece of equipment for people to start doing this business. I actually think it's because a lot of people will have the time to just load their machine. They will simply have the time to process bulk that has been sitting. I don't think this machine is going to, introduce so many new sellers that the market's going to crash. I actually think this is just going to get bulk out of boxes to be sifted. That is my take on it. I also don't think this thing is going to change the market enough to do significant damage to cards that are playable in liquid. Now, when it comes to 25-cent cards right now that might be a little bit older, that have absolutely zero utility, yeah, those cards could definitely go down to 10 cents, could go down to 5 cents. And, the moment you sift them, they're not going to be worth, what it's saying they're worth in 5 days because everybody's going to be getting the sifter at the same time. Um, in all honesty, right now is definitely the best time to process all your bulk manually because this could definitely impact the market. But when it comes to being a sports card seller myself, mainly, when I got my Fujitsu scanner and Car Dealer Pro, consider the Roca my Fujitsu and their $25 service plan, Car Dealer Pro, which I pay $9 a month for. When I got that, it completely revolutionized my business specifically. And I was pretty early on Fujitsu's and Car Dealer Pro. Now it's a little more common, but even now, 3 years later, there's still a ton of sellers that are doing everything by hand. They're doing everything manually. Their photos are not high quality. Their listings, their titles are dog shit. Their listings are straight up wrong. They're just not selling efficiently. I think the same thing is going to happen with this. Yeah, 10% of the sellers on the marketplace might start using it. I just don't think it's going to be the singles apocalypse. I think there'll be downward pressure. I've already stated that. I do think we'll see some cards go down, but I do not think it's the end of the world. At the end of the day, $800 to a business owner, this is a drop in the bucket. To me, seeing this, this is a no-brainer. Dude, I know how much I gained from purchasing my Fujitsu, which was $800 3 years ago. Now the way higher end models are about 800. But at the time I was 800. This piece of machinery at $800, this is cheap. I'll be honest with you. I kind of agree with Mason and Rob, both of them saying like, yeah, this is 2, 3, 4x cheaper than what it should be. Now, if this machine was $1,500, I probably wouldn't buy it. I'll be honest with you. If it would have been 1,000, I would have. 1,200, I definitely still would have. 16, 17, 1,800, I probably wouldn't have bought it, man. That's just, you have to understand, I don't have enough bulk on hand for me to support that. But when it comes to now me, I've already recorded this video once, so hopefully I don't repeat anything. I have already doubled my bulk buying rate for Magic. I push it up to $10 1,000. I was at $5 1,000. My Pokemon bulk rate for now is staying at $5 1,000 for new stuff. Older stuff, Sun and Moon and back, all yellow border, all near mint, $10 1,000. Lorcana bulk has to be completely unsorted, unsifted, $5 1,000. Have no room on that. One Piece bulk right now in this market is $5 1,000. And you might think, well, it's a great One Piece market. It should be higher. No, It should not. The amount of product that is getting ripped in these low end singles that are being sold because the products are too expensive actually drives the stuff down way quicker than typically. So I'm at $5 a thousand on that. I don't know if this is going to be able to do every single card that is currently listed on TCG Player or just like, you know, the top row. If this Roca Sifter can do Yu-Gi-Oh, that's going to be a game changer for a lot of sellers out there. You know, I would hope it can do other games like Dragon Ball and Gundam and Riftbound and all these other games, right? I would hope this, you know, Sifter can do those IPs and those, you know, brands and stuff. So let's kind of talk about this a little more in depth now that I've kind of give you my rundown, my opinions on it. You know, I think it is number one, I think it is absolutely worth $800 to a casual person. 800 is going to sound like a fuckload of money, especially if they don't have a business or they don't really sell trading cards. And that's kind of the reason that I think it's not going to affect things that much. To some people, $800, that is like, dude, they would have to save for like 3 months to have $800. You know, I'm 7 years deep into a full-time business with cards. I don't have a real job. This is all I do full time. To me, this is a drop in the bucket for the amount of expenses you incur in a trading card business. But for somebody just starting out, $800, that is a big, big investment. So people are at different parts in the journey, and that is what will stop them, is such a high price tag like that for them when it comes to their perspective. So what Roca Sifter does: sifts TCGs by foil, price, color, type, rarity, and more at 1,800 cards an hour. So you can't do all that at once, obviously. You know, you have 3 bins. 1 bin will always be allocated to everything else that you are not sifting for. So for example, let's say we're doing it off of price. You know, let's say I want 1 bin filling up with cards over $1, 1 bin filling up with cards over 25 cents, and the final bin to be everything that is not those prices. So, you know, let's say I load 600 cards in. I doubt you can fit that much in this hopper. Probably looks like 250, I would say, honestly. 200, 250, unless it goes deeper. It definitely could. You know, there could be another, you know, 100 here. So this could be like a 300, 400 card hopper. But it's going to be like, you know, I'm going to fill this bin up right away. And there's probably going to be, you know, 50 to 100 cards in the 25 cent. And then there's going to be like 15, 20 cards in the dollar bin, right? And, you know, you're going to have to do additional sifts of the same stuff that's already been sifted if you want to get more accurate and more in-depth and start sorting is probably the best way to put it. This machine is just to sift. It is a big difference. You're not sorting cards alphabetically. You're not sorting them by type. You can technically. You technically can. Like if you had a shitload of bulk from all one set. Let's take Unfinity. And let's say you wanted to sort all the black cards and all the colorless cards. You know, you can do that. It'll take a while. You'll have to sift the same stuff over and over and over. But you can do that. And for people who don't have a Roca sorter, they will sort with this machine. Don't get me wrong. There will be sorting that is happening too. You want this machine to be running pretty much constantly, doing something for you. Sorting somehow if you're not sifting unsorted or unsifted bulk. So what I'm trying to say is you can't do it all at once, but you can do it eventually. But even with a 3-bin system, you know, I think sorting by price will always, or sifting by price, I can't even get it right, will be your primary function with this machine. So accurately separates foils from non-foils with industry-leading technology. What that industry-leading technology is simply a metal detector. There is nothing else to it. It is simply detecting the metallic layer in the foiling. And I really do wonder if that whole Pokemon controversy with the Sword and Shield era and shit like that, with that one guy that like blew up on YouTube by metal detecting like Lost Origin packs or something when Twitter lost its mind. The same time the CT scanner shit was happening in the hobby. I honestly wonder if TCG Player got the idea to innovate because of that. But luckily, sidebar here, luckily all of these TCG games have already implemented countermeasures to, get rid of that out of the hobby, which is, really what we needed. We just can't have that going on. One Piece has a guaranteed foil every single pack. And then other packs, if you've opened a box of One Piece before, you can get a pack with a rare and another rare, a rare with an SR, a rare with a hit. So it's like, you basically, if somebody's going to sit there and be weird and fucking metal detect packs, you have to open the entire box, basically, which is amazing. Pokemon, hollow in every single pack now. That's the best way to do it. Just having, a regular base hollow in every single pack, it makes them completely, undetectable. Magic, they don't do, any products anymore that don't have a foil in them, so they're covered. And then, Lorcana, got it. Lorcana has a foil in every single pack as well. So, all of these card games, the major card games, and even other stuff, Gundam, foil in every single pack, Riftbound, 2 or 3 foils in every single pack. Like, I'm so happy that has been completely eradicated. Now it has devalued foils. That's been that way a very long time in the hobby where, foils just don't have value anymore, which really stinks. Some of the old Magic the Gathering foils, man, they used to be so beautiful. And actually rare because there was only 12 a box, but, it is what it is. Let's get off of that rant. Let's continue on. So, reads cards in multiple orientations. This is something that, has been pretty much perfected already by their scanning software they have on the app, which is great. Now, here is one that has completely, it has completely taken everybody off guard. Sifts cards in most premium sleeves, aka Dragon Shields. This was super interesting to me. I don't know how it's moving the cards inside this machine. If it's using suction like a normal Roca sorter, or if it's using, just pushing it. But that's incredible to me. Because even my Fujitsu, I cannot scan cards in any kind of sleeve unless they are top loaded. And I really can't even scan anything in card savers. It has to be in a top loader. So the fact that you can basically buy a collection, you can buy a binder, you can buy a collection, doesn't matter what it is. A lot of people are going to have cards in these sleeves. Now, I don't know if this would, let's say ETB sleeves from Pokemon, I don't know if those are going to quite fall under a premium sleeve. So we'll see on that. That is going to be a very big part. Because if you can just buy a fully sleeved collection and just boom, put them right in your Roca, that is going to be a game changer. That is going to be amazing. And here is really, really where it's going to shine. You can list the cards on TCG Player Marketplace with just a few clicks. You're going to have, your spreadsheet pop up, boom, boom, boom. And, all the stuff that you just sifted is going to be in that spreadsheet for you. You double check it, make sure everything's right. There are going to be some errors, man. I'm going to tell you right now, this thing, I think it said 99.9% accuracy. It's just not true. It's probably going to be about 80%. I'm going to be honest with you. Especially cards that have been reprinted and have multiple, variations and stuff. It's probably more along the lines of 80%. So I'll just be honest with you. And new sets, when a set first comes out, it's just not going to scan properly. Some will, for sure, but the majority won't. So I'm just letting you know now. And then it directly integrates with Scan and Identify, which is absolutely huge. So moving down here, like I said, the listing made easy. That's good. Being able to just throw in a couple of different price, floors and sift how you want is amazing. Literally buy collection, just feed it into the Roca while you're working on other stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Knock it all out. Same thing here. Processing that bulk fast is important. Now, you're going to have to reload it multiple times. And I tried to, talk about that earlier. You can't fit 1,800 cards in here. You can't. It's going to spill out at the top. Now, you could probably 3D print stuff like a much larger hopper. I'm sure you can do that. Or, hear me out, I think we might see an additional larger hopper for sale later as an add-on accessory. Watch it happen. Automate the workflow. Having something working for you is better than anything that you could think of that requires you. It is genuinely a game changer. So here's the specs. Oh, it says it right there. Holds 400 cards. You can reload it while it's sifting. Now the bins, the inner bins are 250 card bins. So you're gonna have to empty stuff eventually. You know, like you can keep putting cards in, but once these bins are filled, that's going to, I don't know if the machine's gonna automatically stop or if it's just gonna start. You would think it's gonna automatically stop itself. That's what I would think. It's got to be a sensor. Um, but if you're gonna be sifting, like I mentioned, dollar cards, 25-cent cards, everything else, your 250 card bin is going to fill up very quick, and we can actually figure out the exact math on that. Let's say you didn't get a single card in your sift range, and all 250 cards, your first 250 cards, were actually, unfortunately, not in your range. That is going to be, man, this might be harder math than I thought. 1 second. So if I did this math correctly, which it is entirely possible that I did not, your 250 card bin of everything else will fill up in 12 minutes, assuming that there was not a single other card that was taken into a different bin in a sift. So if you wanted to negate this from happening and bump that up to 24 minutes, you could essentially only be sifting a card, a card range at $1 here, and then everything else is bulk. So I would assume if you only have one specification, that it would equally fill 2 and 3. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I would assume. So this device here is 12 pounds, and it's basically a foot across and a foot up. And that's with the tower on the height. This is going to be perfect for almost anybody when it comes to the amount of space that it takes up. You're going to need to have it near, obviously, an outlet. Other than that, you're going to be good to go. It does not say how much electricity it uses. That's going to be a big thing because that is going to directly cut into your margin, obviously. If we can get the electricity specs, I would really like that because I would like to know if I can run 2 of them in the same outlet. Do they have to be plugged directly into an outlet to be, fully grounded? Can you throw them on a power strip? Can I have a heavy duty power strip that I can put 2 of these fucking Rocas on and have them both pumping out? That's assuming I can source bulk locally at a much higher rate than I currently do. But is that something that is possible? If it is, then sign me up, sign me up for a second one. Another thing I'd like to just spitball here real quick. If I have 2 of these, am I getting billed $50 a month, or am I still only getting billed $25? If I'm only getting billed $25, like if it is just $25 straight up, I would be very interested. I'd be very interested. Obviously, I'm just going to start with 1, but I would definitely be interested to see if it'll bump it up to $600 a year or not. So that's it, man. That's the Roca Sifter, and I really think the price is going to go up. I think there's going to be so much demand. They're just going to have to pump the price up, or the ship date is going to be pushed back. I actually think that the fact that it's still sitting at September as a ship date, I just can't see it, man. I'll be honest with you. I just can't see them getting out the amount of units that are going to be ordered. I just can't. So this is on the list of things to pre-order and purchase as soon as possible. Likely within the next month or 2, we will just start, putting aside a little bit here, a little bit there, and we'll be picking this up. If you have a card business in any way, shape, or form, any capacity, I would highly recommend purchasing one as well. Even if you do not sell on TCG Player and you do strictly eBay, even the ability to start purchasing Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, One Piece, Lorcana, everything, and throwing it in the sifter and just sifting out cards $2 or more, which is what you're going to be basically listing on eBay if you want to make any money at all. A $2 purchase on eBay after standard envelope, after cost, after supplies, after shipping, after everything, you're getting about 60 cents. So it's still worth it if you're paying a penny for bulk. 1 card can pay for 60 cards, and the other 59 cards, they're going to be hopefully repurposed, and you're not just putting them in a box. Hopefully you're selling all the bulk after it's already, been sifted. So that's that. Man, this is going to be something. One thing I'm going to do, and then we'll wrap this up, I am going to be sifting anything under 25, anything at 25 cents. Anything under is going to be bulked out. anything 25 cents to 50 cents is all going to get put into like a 100 card lot. And we're going to sell them for 20% off or whatever the market value is. So let's say I have 100 cards that are all 25 cents. My brain is telling me that's 25 bucks, but I'm going to double check here. Yeah, it's $25. So that's something we'll be selling for $19.99 free shipping. It'll literally be free shipping. If we wanted to do a 500 count of that, now I can't do the math on that. It's like 125, I think. 500 times a quarter, yeah, it's 125. So that is something that like we will sell for $99.99 free shipping. If it's 500 cards, all 25 cents or more, 100 bucks. And it's honestly like it will be a game changer, but at the same time, if prices go down on some of that stuff, it will be a little tough when it comes to selling these lots, especially if they are pre-made. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a ton of fun. And I'm excited for this change and this new innovation because this is going to hopefully take us to the next level if we can source bulk. If we can't source bulk, that is going to be the bottleneck. So there always is a bottleneck. There's always something that will slow you down. For me, it'll just be sourcing enough bulk. So that's all I have for you guys today. Do me a huge, huge favor. Consider subscribing to the channel. We talk about everything. We talk about eBay, ComC, TCG Player, the markets for all of everything. Non-sports, sports, everything. If you just want to know more information about trading cards in general, this is the place to be. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.